Good morning, everyone. Got your coffee? I got mine. So listen, I have a million things that I have to do today. It will not be a leisurely Saturday for me. I have to fill up the library pantry. I have to go to the grocery store. I hate going to the grocery store. I hate that so much, but at this time, I cannot put it off. At this point, rather, I can't put it off any longer than what I've done. My refrigerator is like bare, and my husband is looking at me crazy like, are you going to do something to fix this situation or no? And so I can't put it off any longer. And then I have to get out in my garden, and then I have to do a deep clean of my house today. I'm just going to go to the grocery store after I fill up the library pantry. I'm going to take me a shot, put on a good album, and just go for what I know. But before I do all that, I need to say thank you to some people. I need to say thank you so much to Tracy. Tracy, thank you so much. Sister, I don't even have words. And the same thing to Judith. Judith, thank you so much for your wonderful support and generosity. And I need to say thank you to Stephanie. Stephanie, thank you so much. And then I need to say thank you to Bethany for your reparations payment. I appreciate you so much. Before I get going on my day and I sit here and I enjoy this leisurely cup of coffee like I have nothing to do today, and I enjoy it with you all, I'm going to offend some people. Because I'm going to tell some hard truths, and and the hard truths are always offensive, because people do not want to face truth. People don't want to deal with the truth. People want to live in their twisted realities, whether those realities are built to protect themselves. Usually that's why they build alternate realities to protect themselves from, facing reality. And reality is oftentimes difficult, but I'm going to tell the truth, and either you're going to stick with me through it or you're not. Do you remember not so long ago when, it was just last week, when white people were running around here talking about that they had black fatigue. Now, black fatigue, I don't know if you all know, but black fatigue is a condition that black people have. And it is the condition of basically living in black skin and having to deal with everything that comes along with that. That's what actual black fatigue is. But true to their nature, white people have stolen the term, and they have used it to villainize black people. And they're saying, basically in a nutshell, we are just so sick of you black people. Everything that you do, everything that you say, everything that you are, we are sick of you and we have had enough. Well, let me tell you, just in the last couple of days alone, I saw a video of this black trans woman, and she made this speech about equity, and the speech was fire. I wish I would have jotted her name down so you could go back and watch this speech. Maybe I'll do it and put it in the comments later on so you can watch the speech. I know that it is posted in the room, I believe. So if you belong to the room, you can go over there and you can find it. But it's a black trans woman, and she's talking about equity. And no one should know about equity and equality and the fight for that like a black trans woman. No, yeah. Black people in general, but especially a black queer woman, will know about those things like no other. And we could learn from people, who are in marginalized groups, but I also saw a video. I want to say more about that, but I'm going to leave it alone. I also saw a video where I guess something happened where this young white guy went on the Breakfast Club. Now, I don't watch the Breakfast Club because I actually agree with Tabitha Speaks Politics on her feelings about the Breakfast Club. We just happen to share the feelings. We've never talked about them amongst ourselves, but I believe that the Breakfast Club is bad for black people. I've thought that for a long time. I also stopped following the Shade Room years ago. Like, I'll say maybe about 10 years ago, because for the same reasons. I believe that the Shade Room is very bad for black people. And to be honest with you, I'm looking at the Root and Griot kind of with a side eye lately too. I still follow the Root, not so much Griot. I don't follow the Griot as much as I do the Root because sometimes Griot is questionable, and plus a lot of racists follow Griot. but a lot of races follow the route too. Which kind of brings me to the point that I'm trying to make. I'm trying to put it all together here. White people say that they are tired of black people, but white people are always in our spaces. I get it here a lot, just on this platform. There are so many white people that follow me, even though they know good and well this is a pro-black platform, and that they shouldn't be following me because there's nothing really valuable. Well, I won't say that. It's a lot of value in my content for them, because that's why they're here, and that's why they refuse to leave, because they find value in the content. But anyway, this white guy named Neon goes on to the Breakfast Club, and he's racist. Obviously, he's racist. He's a streamer, one of those guys that I guess does the streaming and everything. And he is in black spaces, but he's racist. He's a full-on racist. And this is why it's so important to deconstruct from internalized racism. Because as a black person, if you don't do that, you will allow harmful white people to be in our spaces, and you will do it without calling them out. Which is why every so often I give the speech as to, yeah, there's a lot of white people that follow me. And they know that they shouldn't be following me, but they won't go the fuck away. Nothing I can do to make them go away. They just won't go away. And then they're always in my comments talking like I'm trying to have a conversation with them. And I'm not trying to have a conversation with white people in this space about any damn thing. Not about the weather, not about current affairs, not about anything. I have made it clear no less than 100 times on this platform that I am talking to black people. But white people still come into this space, they still center themselves, and they still feel entitled to it. Because no space is off limit to white people. And even though they feel like they are not racist, a lot of them, that in and of itself is racist, because they refuse to allow a marginalized group to have a space to call our own, when all spaces, when few spaces belong to us, in all spaces belong to them. That in and of itself is racist. But they refuse to acknowledge that it is. And so they choose to remain here. Because at the end of the day, until they start talking a little too much, I can't do anything to get rid of them. And trust me when I tell you that in that effort, I'm usually alone, because my moderators, even though I have them, I gotta be honest, they're not really doing a whole lot to help keep this space safe and enjoyable for us black people. And that's just the truth. Feel your feelings. By the way, let me just put it out there. If anyone would like to be a moderator, I would appreciate the help. Real help. So anyway, he goes on to the Breakfast Club, and he says that he's being disrespected, and he storms off. And I only saw clips here and there. I didn't see the whole thing. And it was good that they called him out, because I don't know, maybe the Breakfast Club, I think at times when I see clips, I think they're trying to be more conscionable. And I think that as Charlemagne the God, he says he's gone to therapy and all that, but I don't know. Therapy is a journey, and and it does take time. I myself was in therapy for 10 years, and I still brush up, and I still need checkups and check-ins. So maybe as he grows older, he will grow up and grow in consciousness, and so will the other people sitting at that platform. But I would not call that show pro-black at all. And I do think that it's very harmful to black people, especially when you're telling black people things like, don't vote for the more qualified candidate, things of that nature. But anyway, my point is that this is a white person, like a lot of white people, who basically wants to access black people and black spaces in order to capitalize off of whatever it is blackness has to offer in the moment. And a lot of black people do this. Now, when the trans black woman, when she gave this wonderful, powerful, impactful speech, a white woman came along and decided that the speech was so fire. She took the whole speech, like Melania Trump did Michelle Obama's speech, and she gave it word for word for word on her platform. And she got all these likes. And we know what likes, what they translate into, and what people engaging with your content, what that translates into. It translates into dollars. This white woman who stole the speech word for word, verbatim, of this black trans woman about equity of all things. Equity of all things. Listen to that. She stole a speech from a trans black woman about equity. And then she said the speech like she gave it. And then all these people, a lot of white people, other white people, engaged with the content, and she made a lot of money off of stolen content. This is one of the reasons why black people stopped dancing on TikTok. It started off as a dance app, if you remember it. And then black people were doing dances, and then white people, and then they started doing the dances, and they started making lots of money, going on talk shows, acting as though they are the ones, they were the original creators of these dances. And then they gaslit black people, and they was like, it's just a dance, it's just a speech, it's just streaming. But black fatigue. White people, we talked a little bit about energy yesterday. And it's another reason why you have to deconstruct, because if you do not deconstruct, you will never learn how to properly guard your energy from these energy vampires. Because that's what most white people are. They are energy vampires. They harness and steal the energy of black people in order to benefit themselves in some way. Whether it's to look cooler, sound cooler, have more swag, sound woke. Or, number one with a bullet, the money, money, money. The money, money, money. That's what they've always used us for. Was for their ability to profit off of us. Whether if it's not our labor, it's our creativity. It's some way that they need to constantly be in black spaces. It's some reason, and that is the reason. And if you as a black person, if you do not deconstruct and you allow your internalized racism to give access to these types of white people, and trust me when I tell you, most of them are, the overwhelming majority of white people, let's just tell the truth, are racist. Even if they think that they are not racist, their proximity to blackness does not disqualify them from being racist. Their proximity to blackness just means that they want proximity to blackness. And like I just said, they have their reasons for that. And because black people are still trying to prove that we are just as good as, instead of knowing that we are just as human as, instead of just knowing that we are, that we're just as much as, instead of just knowing that we are and existing in all of that, we're constantly trying to prove to them something. And so we are always allowing them access so that we can prove to them that our money is just as good, or our education is just as good, or our skin color is just as good, or we are just as good, or we walk, talk, act, dress just as good, instead of just existing, excuse me, as black people, instead of just knowing that. Because if you know it, if you know you have nothing to prove, you don't walk around all the time trying to prove it, trying to allow them access in order to prove it. You just exist. You just exist. Like Muhammad Ali, you just exist. Like Malcolm X, you just exist. You just exist. You don't go around chasing their approval. Excuse me. That's one of the ways, by the way, that one of the ways that white supremacy keeps on winning. Because black people always feel like we got to prove ourselves instead of just merely existing. We don't have to prove shit to them. All we have to do is just exist. Literally, if you sit back long enough and start working on deconstructing your racism and just watch them, you'll understand who the watchers actually are. I have watched them watch us. They are the watchers. They are the energy vampires. They are the thieves. Speaking, excuse me. Speaking of which, now that a lot of us are growing in conscious and trying to get in community with one another, and we are trying to support one another, make sure that you are actually supporting blackness. Because again, they slick with it. Excuse me. They will sell you blackness. They will sell you your own blackness if you're not paying attention. You ever see TikTok shops and you see shirts, pro-black shirts, or, you know, shirts about Harriet Tubman or Malcolm X or Martin King, and then the next thing you know, you see a pair of white hands or a white model wearing that? The Asians are good at that too. Selling black people black pride. Make sure that when you are supporting black people and blackness, that you are actually not supporting white people or Asians. That's one of the reasons why they watch us so closely, to see what they can take and pillage and steal, take advantage of, use. And then they will take that shit, wrap it up in something that looks like blackness. All the while, your money is going into the bank accounts of whiteness. White supremacy. Somebody that just don't look like you. Black creators, I see design, they sell things like cups. This cup right here is by the artist Navi Robbins. I've seen several copies of his work. This is the original work. I've seen several copies of his work already stolen. Now, I guarantee you, it ain't black people that's profiting off this man's work, this artist's work. Black ingenuity, black creativity. Make sure that we got you there where you're looking for black people and you want to support black people. But make sure that you are actually supporting black people. Because white people, in a heartbeat, they will come to our platforms. They will steal the clothes that we make, the images we create. They will mass produce them and they will sell them back to us. And we thinking that we are participating in black pride, black owned businesses, and we're not, because they done stole it. So whether it's a speech, or whether it's streaming arenas, or whether it's a TikTok dance, or whether it's art, black art, or whether it's just the way that we phrase things, the way we approach topics and issues and subject matters. Make sure that it's actual black people that you are supporting, and that you are not supporting some white person that then peeked over the fence, look to see what black people are doing, even though they're claiming that they have black fatigue, all the while stealing blackness. Make sure it's us that you're really truly supporting. It took me so long to get the room, black people in the room, to understand that a lot of the content that they were posting was not in support, actual support of black people. I think they're starting to get it now. But deconstruction takes time. And I can be patient. I can be very impatient. But when it comes to black people who are trying to learn, I can be patient in that regard. Yeah, that's going to offend a few folks. But the truth often does, and it is what it is. But deconstruct so that they can stop pretending with you, so that you know them when you see them. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't even matter if they donate to this platform. At the end of the day, do I trust them? Fuck no. Fuck no. I will never trust any white person that would never allow for black people to have our own space where we can talk about our own issues and without their constant input. I would never trust that white person. Nothing that they could do. You can't buy trust. With that being said, that is all that I have for today. If you would like to support the platform or the library pantry, I would certainly appreciate it. Y'all have a good day and keep what I said in mind. I hope it made sense to you. Y'all have a good day. Be righteous. Help black people. Don't hurt black people. They're your people.